You're live, it says.
Looks like we're live.
Yep.
Perfect. You know, I think the internet and the fiber and all of these things are loving this weather today.
Right?
Everything's working smooth and fast.
Not here. I'm using my phone.
Mercury's in retrograde today, or has been.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
So
It's
Mark's
like the
on
old
now.
days, where the rural parts of town don't have the good infrastructure.
Yeah.
it looks like Mark has joined us. He's just on mute and not on video yet.
I'm here. I'm still doing my hair.
Very good. Very good.
All right,
That
everyone.
shouldn't take long.
Zing.
Hey,
All right, so we are on live on YouTube right now. Right.
tough room. Okay, I guess we'll get started. It's just after 5 o'clock. Today is Thursday, May 12th. This is the Town of Camden Planning Board meeting to do a site plan review of a construction of a pier at 260 Bayview Street. First item on the agenda is any public comments on non-agenda items.
I've got nothing, Ethan.
All right.
I wonder if it would be appropriate to talk about needing planning board members.
Oh, there you go. That's maybe a good idea.
We need planning board members.
Yeah.
Andy. Yeah.
see
So, and I think I'm going to chat with Janice about getting the word out, trying to get some interest going. So, you know, we're down a member currently, and Andy is working away a lot lately, and it sounds like he's, as much as I think he wants to be on, I think he needs to probably get off. So I will touch base with Janice, and we'll try to advertise that and get that out there. It is important to try to have a full board, and a good representation, I think, is significantly important of different perspectives and different backgrounds. So we'll leave it there with that, if that's okay. Ethan, sound good?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right.
Well,
It's
I'll follow up with that, Jeremy.
All right.
I told
Hair
you
looks good.
my term is up in June, and I'm not going to renew it. So my seat's going to be available also. So.
All right. So there'll be 2 or 3 seats.
2 seats and an alternate.
So the new rule is you can't leave unless you find somebody to replace
Right,
you.
right.
I chatted with Mark, and I think he's going to try to see what he can do to generate some interest. So,
Yep. Okay.
yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
I'm sorry to see you go. Okay, so that will take us then to the. Go ahead, Chris, or
One quick
something?
question. Just on our schedule, we've added these. Are we having our regular third Thursday meeting next Thursday? Are we?
That's a good question. That was the item 3 on the agenda. We can tackle it right now. We could.
Okay.
My
Sorry.
thought was, you know, I don't know. We don't have any applications in the works, but obviously we're, you know, the short-term rental discussion that you had, and Pat generated some, you know, some information for everybody for some ideas. I've also talked with a local hotelier that is struggling with, has always had issues with short-term rentals. And he asked me if I can get somebody to come in and chat with you all about the way, you know, their perspective. This is coming from more of a life safety and licensing perspective, and compared to what bed and breakfasts and inns and hotels and motels have to do.
Yeah, and we did touch on that as one of our principal reasons.
If you'd like, it might be a good time to have someone that is an expert in this and does talk with municipalities to maybe give a little presentation. I can see if that can happen next week. We could do it on Zoom again. And
That would be
see-
great if you could do that, Jeremy. It'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
Ethan,
Be
Chris,
helpful.
you guys all right with that, Mark?
Yeah,
Yep.
And I think he's got his roots in the area, Rockport area, and I think he's in the fire service, and he comes from that kind of life safety perspective and licensing. So it might be a good idea to have someone else give you some ideas, give you some thoughts on what he's communicating with other communities, what they're talking about. So you want to just line it up to have kind of another workshop that would just, and hopefully I'll reach out to him tomorrow and see if he can do a 5 o'clock Zoom meeting. I think he's down in Southern Maine. So does that sound good?
That does.
That's fine with me, yes.
If not, do you want to at least have a Zoom meeting on what Pat has put
I think
together?
I think we can definitely have at least a touch base on where we're at and
Okay.
see where we want to go moving forward. I don't want it to get stale.
Nor do I.
So-
I mean, we've got other things to get into on sea level rise and height, building height, things like that. So, all right. Sounds good.
So Jeremy, if a
Yes.
guy does give a talk with us, and I guess depending on how long that takes, would we also revisit and maybe start to think about, generate ideas on what we might be interested in doing or presenting, putting forward?
I think
That
it
would be
I think it might be hard to do his presentation plus go over the information that you kind of, and maybe, I don't know, Ethan, that's your call, me, it's not my call. I was thinking maybe you can at least figure out a path forward and what you want to do, and we can do that the first meeting in June. I know, I mean, these months fly by. I can't believe we're talking about a first meeting in June.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how long they intend to present. You know, if it's 15 minutes to a half an hour, I think we could certainly, cover a little bit more. And if not,
All right.
if they run longer than that, we may just have to
Sounds good.
talk about where we go next.
All right, I'll send an draft agenda out or something on Monday.
Okay.
Well, it should be tomorrow, really, so. We'll
Okay.
do it tomorrow. All right, sounds good.
All right. And Chris, do you have that process agenda in front of you? Because there's all sorts of great suggestions for possible motions.
it doesn't have to be just me. I mean,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Mark does a pretty good job.
well, I know, I was
We all-
thinking,
we
I mean,
all are
Mark,
capable.
if this is one of Mark's last projects, he may want to, get his movements in.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll make a motion, we pass this project.
Well, that was very efficient. All right. If only we're so easy, but we actually do have to go through some steps, and I'll lead us through those now. So this is agenda item number 2, site plan review, the public hearing. First of all, does anyone on the board have a conflict of interest or bias in relation to the project at 260 Bayview Street?
No,
Seeing none.
No.
Okay. We will now take a roll call of the members who were present at the site walk. Chriso
I was there by phone.
and FaceTime, right? You
No,
got
he was there on video, so.
Yeah. So that counts. Thank you. Pat,
Yes, I was present.
Mark.
I was present, yes.
Yeah, and I also was present. So that is a quorum, and we had 4 members technically present. So those who are voting will include myself, Trisso, Pat, and Mark. It says read the procedure. Can you still hear me?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you got a lot of screens over
Oh, I
there.
think my phone, when I get a phone call, my phone switches to, hold on. Zach, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Probably you're still not. Dang. Okay. I hate it when this happens. Let me just try one more time. Sometimes when I undo my earbuds, they reset. That sounds better. Okay. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Jeannie, did you send the process rules, or is that, I'm trying to find those.
Public hearing procedure.
Yes,
Yeah, I
you
must
said,
have it.
you responded and said, thank you.
Yeah, but I'm looking for the actual, oh, here we go. I've got it. Thank you. Here are the procedures for the public hearings. The following procedures will be followed for the public hearing process. The Director of Planning and Development will introduce the application and explain why it is before the board. The board will then hear from the applicant or the applicant's representative, who will offer testimony and evidence in support of the application. The board will then seek comments from members of the public who wish to speak, comment, or ask questions. Speakers must identify themselves for the record by name and address. All comments and all questions of the applicant will be directed through the chair. The chair may exclude irrelevant or unduly repetitious comments. The first public comment period will be closed, and members of the board will be given the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and or the public. The second public comment period will be open for the purpose of hearing new and relevant information only. You can hear that my dogs have an opinion. The second comment period will be closed, and if members have no further questions or comments, the public hearing will then be closed. The board will begin deliberation. There will be no further comment from the applicant or the public. A board member may ask for clarification, but no new evidence may be entered into the record by way of testimony unless it was erroneously omitted. It is not appropriate for the public to interject during board deliberations. The board will then review the applicable standards and either approve the application, deny the application, or approve with conditions. An affirmative vote of at least 3 members is required for approval. All right, those are the procedural rules. So we are now on to, we have the option to determine, this is a, let me see here. The application is for a review of Article 10 Performance Standards for Piers, Part 1, Section 1, 8B, ordinance pages X6 and 8, 7 and 8, applicant's packet pages 4 and 5, and the Harbor Committee's comments received 4/6/22 attached. And then we will also be doing a review of the site plan approval criteria under Article 12, Section 6. We do have the option to determine at the beginning of the review of Section 6 which approval criteria do not apply to this application. Someone can make an all-inclusive motion that Article 4 numbers do not, or Article 12, I think, Section 6 numbers have been found not to apply. Or we can go through step by step, depending on how we want to do it. At this point, we will have Jeremy. I think we need to find standing. My read is the applicant does have standing based on the deed provided in the applicant's packet. So I make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Chriso?
Aye.
Aye. Pat?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And it's an aye from me. Unanimously finding that the applicant has standing. We will now go to Jeremy and his presentation. Give a brief introduction to the project, and then we will hear from the applicant. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Right.
The floor is yours. And I just want to address that I noticed that Anita is here. Anita, welcome, but we have decided, since you weren't on the site walk, that we are going to have you remain on the sidelines for this vote.
Anita,
Go
you're
ahead,
welcome
Jeremy.
you're welcome to comment during the public comment portion of the hearing. All right, so before you is a proposal for Betsy Sherman, 260 Bayview Street for a pier. The pier is 135 feet long, 45 feet long seasonal gangway, and a 16 by 20 foot float. You're required to review this under Article 12, Section 1, Section 6, and that's proposals to construct a pier over 20 feet in length. That's what's in front of you. I have reviewed the submittal requirements and for compliance with shoreline zoning and our zoning ordinance, find that those standards are met and that the application is complete. It's a fairly simple process that you have to go through. I think we put together, and I think the applicant put together good information for you to utilize. There are multiple standards that you have to review. Ethan touched on them. The pier standards specifically in the shoreline zoning ordinance or performance standards section of the code or the ordinance, as well as the harbor committee's same review criteria that the harbor committee uses. And then you use the approval, you also use the approval criteria laid out for site plan applications. And there are a handful of sections, subsections in that approval criteria that I feel are not relevant and not applicable. And that's where I think Ethan was touching base on earlier, making a motion once you're there to, kind of a blanket non-applicability for a number of those sections. We did do a site walk this morning, looked at the property. We also looked at the adjacent properties pier for reference. I think it was a good thing to do before you folks review this. And I will say, Jeannie and I tried very hard to get information out to you earlier this time so that you had more time to review. It felt like we did anyway. I don't know if that feels like it for you guys, but I think we tried to get good information to you as quickly as possible so you could spend some time on it. That's what I have, Ethan. And then I think you can probably turn it over to Will unless you want to find, at some point you do need to find that I found the application.
Yeah, I think we'll go with the completeness one now. So I'll make a motion on that the based on Jeremy's review of the packet and the board's own review, the application is complete.
Second.
I have a motion in a second. Okay. Mark?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Chriso?
Aye.
It's an aye from me. So we
Ethan,
do find it.
can I touch base on one thing just for clarification for everyone's purposes on notice and what this meeting really is? This is a site plan application that is continued from
That's
the
correct,
meeting we had
yeah.
on April 7th. So this is not new. We did have a meeting on April 7th, a brief one, albeit to continue it to a date certain, and this is the date that we're continuing it to.
Yeah, thanks for that. I skipped over that. Thank you.
Yeah. And all notice did go out correctly, appropriately per the ordinance. We did actually send, we didn't need to technically, but we did send to the abutters. There were only 3 of them, but we did send notice of this meeting as well.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point, Will, I think it's time for you. You get the floor and you can give a brief overview of the project. Obviously, we had some discussion and reviewed some plans out at the walk today, but we're happy to have you present. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So again, Will Gartley, and I'm representing Betsy Sherman on our application for residential pier. Jeremy actually did a pretty good job summarizing it. The pier is 125 feet long beyond mean low water. There's the first granite crib kind of straddles the beyond mean high water, sorry. The first granite crib straddles the mean high water line, and then there's 2 additional granite cribs that are in the intertidal zone between mean high and mean low, and then 1 granite crib that's just beyond mean low water, which is where on the site walk we saw the ledge and the water kind of breaking over the top of that ledge. We've received permits from the DEP, the Army Corps, and they have a submerged land lease for the pier as proposed. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We've gone through the ordinance, tried to make sure that we met all the standards in the coastal harbor. This is in the coastal harbor. We haven't done one in the coastal harbor for a while. The rules are basically the same as the outer harbor, with the exception that the height of the pier is allowed to be a little taller, and the size of the float is allowed to be 360 square feet, which is the 16 by 20 that we proposed.
Will, do you want to share your screen, maybe, just so
Yeah.
everyone can see it? People that may be watching. Is that helpful, Ethan? I'm going to say it's helpful.
Oh, I was on mute. Yes, I said yes, absolutely.
All right.
Okay. So everybody can see that now?
Yep.
All right, so the plan that's in front of you is our site plan. On the top part of the plan shows the plan view, which is looking at it from above. To the left, you can see where it takes off from the ground. There's about a 14-foot elevation difference from where it's platform at the top of the bluff. A couple sets of stairs with an intermediate landing, and then we come down onto the pier structure itself. And then there's 3 sections of about 45 foot in length from center of granite crib to granite crib, and then a little bit of a cantilever at the end to get us to the whole total length of the pier. The pier does have a slope to it from beginning to end. On the lower part of the plan is a profile or a section through the pier. So you can see the stairs coming down the slope, getting to the first part of the pier where it's supported on the ledge. And then it's hard to see it, but there is a slight slope from the land side out to the end. And you can see a little bit here, the difference. There's a 10-foot elevation difference from mean high water, which is the dash line, to the surface, which is what it's allowed in the coastal harbor. The reason we sloped it was that the gangway length is restricted under the ordinance. And if we had the entire thing up at that elevation 10 at low water, it would be very steep. So this kind of gives us a little bit best of the both worlds. We gain a little elevation to reduce the number of stairs we need at the land end, reduce the elevation out on the outer end to make the slope at low water as reasonable as it can be. So otherwise, and we've got about 4 feet of water at the end of the pier, and out at the end of the float, we'll probably have about 6 to 7, depending on the tide. That's kind of a basic overview. I'm definitely happy to answer any questions. We tried to provide a pretty complete package. We've got information on the abutters. We've gone through the ordinance and tried to respond to the items that you need to make findings on. There is proposed to be lighting, which will be on the post, and we've got a cut sheet. It's just a very small, low-level light that's on the post, on the railing post. And it's just intended to be used when when it's in use. And again, it's just low level to light the decking itself.
Okay. Thank you, Will. That leads us then to the opening the public comment period. So we'll go ahead and open the first public comment period. Please remember that if you are going to comment, that you say your name and address for the record. And once we close the initial public comment period, the second public comment period is only for new and relevant information. Jeremy, do we have any public comments?
We don't, and I haven't received any at all.
Okay. I'll just give it a minute in case anybody should show up. Will, I think you can go ahead and stop sharing your screen this time. Okay, we'll give it just one more second, make sure nobody's got a comment. Nobody's on the Zoom meeting, right? Other than
Nope.
Anita? Okay.
Nope.
All right, we will go ahead and close the public comment period. And now it is time for the members of the board. If you have any questions or concerns that you want to raise, you can ask questions of the applicant. Are there any questions from the board?
Just had one, it's pretty basic, but the only reason that we have a submerged lands lease with this applicant versus how we didn't with the other pier that we looked at is because of that first granite block that's above the mean low water.
No, so the submerged land lease is for the granite, yes, the one that's below mean low water, correct,
Okay,
right? If any permanent structure that's below mean low water requires it, and any float system and gangway system that exceeds 500 square feet would also require it.
okay, thanks.
Any other members of the board have any questions?
Anita, we'll do you at the second round of public comments. How's that?
Nothing.
Okay. Go, Chris, did you have something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. We will go ahead then and move on to the second public comment period. And if any members of the public wish to comment, now would be your last chance. Anita, did you have something?
This is extremely minor, but in the list of things that the committee voted on previously, on
Harbor
Tuesday,
Committee?
the Harbor Committee voted on.
Yep.
I just wanted to ask that the writing be corrected under E, where it says the Camden Harbor Committee finds that the proposed project will not substantially block or interfere with public rights of passage. This is a really stupid correction, but rights is spelled incorrectly. There are not like religious rights being done about passage. This should be spelled R-I-G-H-T.
I think this is a correct spelling, Anita.
Yeah, I think that's a term of art.
Are you kidding me? It's supposed to be rights.
I am not kidding, but I am open to being corrected.
I was going to say we could ask the attorney in the room.
I would.
I know rites of passage insofar as like, you know, passing, like it's a, as you sort of indicated, like a sort of a religious term. And you're right, that's a ceremonial rite. That's a really interesting thing. I think you're actually, I'm actually going to side with Anita on this one. My take on it would be that right to passage, you know, in the legal sense would be R-I-G-H-T.
Yeah, I really
Yeah,
think that's what
but
it's
this
meant.
is like from common law, right? Old
Right,
common law.
that's what I'm thinking. This is going
Access
way
for
back to,
fishing, fouling, and rights of passage.
right.
But I think we're confusing the religious rites of passage, which is another term, with the legal rites of passage.
It's not a traditional behavior action. It's just the privilege. It's more like the privilege of being able to pass, which is
You
RIGHT.
can't correct it though, because it's ordinance language. You might
Yeah.
recommend an amendment, but this is
Oh.
theirs.
Oh, it's ordinance language. Whoa. Really? Okay, well, I'm just asking you to look at it twice. That's all. It's obviously not critical, but
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, you've given us, you know, something to chew on. I'll be up all night trying to figure that one out.
the ordinance language should change, it seems, unless I'm really missing the boat here, so to speak.
So to speak.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of unless there's any further public comment.
None.
I don't see any. So we will now go ahead and close the second and final public comment period. And it's time to go through the ordinances and the criteria. So we will start with let's see, which one are we going to do first? Do you want to go through the
Shoreline.
Pier standards first?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, the
I was
Pier
gonna say,
standards from
yeah. Yep.
Article 10, Section 8. if you all want to be there and follow along, and I will, I guess this is where I get to do a lot of reading. Number 8, piers, docks, wharves, bridges, and other structures and uses extending over or below normal high water line of a water body within a wetland and shore stabilization. In addition to federal or state permits which may be required for such structures and uses, piers, docks, wharves, breakwaters, causeways, marinas, bridges over 20 feet in length, and uses projecting in water bodies shall conform to the following standards. All references to inner harbor, outer harbor, and coastal harbor shall mean those areas as defined in the harbor rules and regulations of the town of Camden. So 8A, general standards. A, no more than one pier, dock, wharf, or similar structure extending or located below the normal high water line of a water body or within a wetland is allowed on a single lot, except that when a single lot contains at least twice the minimum shore frontage as specified in section 9A, and a second structure may be allowed and may remain as long as the lot is not further divided. Any discussion from the board on this one? I mean,
I'm still trying
there
to get
is,
myself on the right page, sorry.
okay, there is no other pier,
There is no other pier, so
so it's basically doesn't apply, but certainly we can move that it's been satisfied or that does not apply. Mark, do you want to take that one? Do you have that in front of you?
I do. I'll make a motion that Article 10. Oh, where are we here? Article 10, Section 1, Part 8A meets the standards of this application.
second.
Second. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
it's all right. We have a motion and a second that the applicant has met this standard in subset A. Roll call vote. Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. I will just remind the people making motions that it does help to, Jeannie likes it when we add in there based on the information provided by the applicant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the motions. So B is access from shore shall be developed on soils appropriate for such use and constructed so as to control erosion. The applicant did provide in their application information related to this portion.
Yeah.
Any discussion from the board?
That's on sheet C2 for everyone's
Yeah.
info.
No, it's pretty well laid out.
Mhm.
I would also add, should they be able to build this pier, remember there's an erosion control ordinance that's going to voters in June. Should that pass, then before we issue the permit for this, they're going to need to get an erosion control permit in essence and have an inspection on erosion control before projects move forward. Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
Ethan, when we make the motions, I'm sorry, do we have to read the whole section again, like, or?
No, we typically can cite the section and maybe add in the any applicable language, but you don't have to do
Yeah.
the whole
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole section.
So you want to make it show?
I'll make a motion that based on the applicant's plans numbered C2, that this project meets erosion control standards of 8B.
And is located on appropriate soils.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Siegenthaler,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chris O,
Aye.
and that's an aye for me. So moved. 8A, letter C, the location shall not interfere with existing development or natural beach areas. I recall from the site visit that there was no beach where the pier itself is being located. There was a beach off to the right as you're looking out at the water, but it did not appear that the pier would interfere with any existing development or beach areas. So that's my motion based on the site review and the applicant's packet. The location does not interfere with existing development or natural beach areas. Is there a
Okay, so-
discussion or a second?
Oh, did you make the motion already?
I kind of did sneak it in there this time, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause I was talking so much.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mark, did you have something?
Well, I'd almost go under the fact that it's not really applicable because there's no natural beach area there. It's all rocky coastline.
Right, which I think is my long-winded way. I think I said that, but
Oh,
Hmm.
okay then.
Jeannie, do you feel that it was in there?
You said no beach where the pier is going to be located, so
Yeah, yeah.
Or development.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We'll take roll call vote. Chriso,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. 8A-D. The facility shall be located so as to minimize adverse effects on fisheries. Any discussion?
Does that one really apply?
Yeah, these granite, the granite is being put in the water.
Oh, okay, from that perspective.
But we
Yeah.
have,
Also
The-
rely on supplemental information provided in the application from regulatory agencies.
Right, yeah, okay.
we have the letter from fisheries and I'm just looking for who.
The-
Was one of those where they
Natural
were
Resources
talking,
Protection. Where is it? Yeah, Department of Environmental Protection, based on the letter from Environmental Protection, it's not negatively impacting fisheries.
okay, right.
In the applicant's packet. Yeah, is that a motion?
Yes.
We have a
Second,
sec. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Pat,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. Okay, there's quite a few of these, so we'll just keep plugging along. Under 8A, letter E, the facility shall be no longer larger in dimension than necessary to carry on the activity and being consistent with the surrounding character and uses of the area. And then it goes on to explain about a temporary pier. Dock or wharf in non-tidal waters shall not be wider than 6 feet. That portion does not apply. We've heard testimony from the applicant regarding the length of the pier is as short as is possible, and it's actually sloped down towards the water so that they can have a shorter gangway at the end to still reach the low water point. So I feel like this has been met.
So
Make-
can I, oh,
No, go ahead, Pat.
so I'll go ahead and make a motion then based on the applicant's plans. Which one is it? The facility is no larger in dimension than necessary.
That's great. Thank you, Pat. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
It's an aye from me. So moved.
I'll make a motion that letter F does not apply.
That's
Is there-
great, 'cause I was about to suggest that. I'll second that motion. We have a motion and a second that subsection F does not apply because there are no new structures. Roll call vote. Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. G. This talks about non-tidal waters. So again, I would argue this is not
Make a motion. It's not applicable since we are in tidal waters.
okay. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
An aye from me. So moved. Subsection H. No existing structures built on, over, or abutting a pier, dock, wharf, or other structure extending beyond the normal high water line of a water body, or within a wetland shall be converted to a residential dwelling units in any district. I don't think there's any existing structures built
Structures.
on
Yeah, I'll make a
or
motion.
abutting a
that-
pier.
I'll make a motion that H does not apply.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Thank you. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. Subsection I under 8A. Vegetation may be removed in excess of the standards of section 14 of this ordinance in order to conduct shoreline stabilization of an eroding shoreline, provided that a permit is obtained from the planning board. Construction equipment must access the shoreline by barge when feasible as determined by the planning board. And there are subsection A, when necessary, the removal of trees and other vegetation to allow for construction equipment access to stabilization via land must be limited to no more than 12 feet of width. The stabilization project is complete, the construction equipment access way must be restored. And B, revegetation must occur in accordance with section 17.
I
Any
don't think that-
discussion?
does this apply? I don't think there is any vegetation being removed, is there?
I think Will maybe could comment on that, just to clarify. I think there might be a little bit of disturbance for the stairs.
Yeah, I was gonna say the stairs, I mean, there's clearly some low growth there, some grasses and stuff where we were standing, looking out this morning. So that will get disturbed when the platform
Okay.
at the top and the stairs get put in.
But it would still be in compliance with the access requirements to the shore. So you are allowed to have access to the shore, and this provides that.
Right.
Right, and the width is only 4 feet, which is what it's
Right.
about.
Yeah. And it's being erected from the ocean, not from
Right. The
land.
whole project is being constructed by barge,
Right.
so there's no
The
construction.
stairs, the
The
stairs.
stairs are not though.
Right.
Yeah.
Stairs are not, but
Yeah.
the construction
So-
equipment would. But I'll make a motion that based on the applicant's plans, any vegetation that will be removed is within the limits of the ordinance.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll take a roll call vote. Chriso,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Pat.
Aye.
It's an aye for me, so moved. Moving right along to subsection J, a deck or river may be exempted from setback. That's not going to apply.
Yeah, I was going to say that I'll make a motion that J is not applicable.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
Pat.
Aye.
That's an aye for me. So that gets through all those subsects over there. And we'll move on to 8B, piers. And you'll recall that the applicant has provided a detailed description in the application on these as to how these standards are met. May find that helpful to refer to. So we have 8B piers. Letter A is height of walkway of piers and wharves in the shoreline area adjacent to the inner harbor and outer harbor areas, as defined in the harbor rules and regulations of the town of Camden, shall not exceed 6 feet above mean high water. In the shoreline area adjacent to the coastal harbor, where we are, the height shall not exceed 10 feet above mean high water. And the applicant has indicated that the proposed pier is 8.1 feet to 10 feet above mean high water, referring to sheet C1. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion that per the applicant's plan, the proposal meets the criterion for height.
We have a second?
Oh, second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Siegenthaler,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye for me. So moved. Subsection B, the maximum width of the walkway of the pier in the shoreland area adjacent to the coastal and outer harbor areas shall not exceed 4 feet. The overall width of the pier at the walkway shall not exceed 6 feet. Piers and wharves in the shoreland area adjacent to the inner harbor shall not exceed 12 feet in width. The width of the base of the pier shall be in conformance to standard engineering practices. And we have information from the applicant that the overall width of the pier is plus or minus 5 feet 8 inches. So it's under the 6 feet.
And that the walkways are 4 feet.
Right.
So
Any
I'll make a
discussion?
motion that based on the,
Okay,
oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to make a motion that based on the application's plans, the standards for maximum width have been met.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and that's an aye for me. So moved. Subsection C, fender pilings, bollards, railings, and other accessory structures which extend above the walkway or a pier or wharf shall be limited to a height of 6 feet above the walkway. Railings shall be substantially open in construction to minimize visual interference from both shore and water. And the applicant has provided that the lifting gallows that rise above the walkway are temporary and removable. The railings are open to minimize visual interference. There isn't anything about the actual height, but I remember from the plans that they were, I think, under 4 feet. Is that correct, Will?
Yeah, the handrails are at about 42 inches.
Yeah.
42, yeah.
And we are showing those gallows that are removable and temporary.
Mhm. Any discussion?
I will make a motion based on the application's plan that the standards for height have been met.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye for me. So moved. Subsection D, no pier shall be constructed within 30 feet horizontal distance of the point where the property line intersects the harbor line in the shoreland area adjacent to the coastal and outer harbor areas. In the inner harbor area, shall be no required setback except where business district abuts are not applicable to that part. So we have information from the applicant that the project parcel is located within the coastal harbor. The proposed pier is located at a minimum plus or minus 98 feet from the point where the property line intersects the harbor line of the closest property line. So not within 30 feet.
Okay. Based on the applicant's plans, I'd like to make a motion that the pier construction within 30 feet of the point where property line intersects the harbor line has been met.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and it's an aye for me, so moved. On to subsection E. No pier shall be built within 300 feet as measured along the shoreline from an existing or an approved pier, wharf, or breakwater. And there's some exceptions in there I'm going to skip over. The proposed pier from the applicant, the proposed pier at a minimum of 600 feet plus or minus from the nearest adjacent pier. And that is indicated on the attached abutters map in the application packet. Any discussion?
I will make a motion based on the applicant's plan that the proposed pier is not within 300 feet of any other pier, breakwater, et cetera.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. All right, so G and H are not applicable, and F is actually, best covered under Article 6, Section 6. So we'll continue with that as we move along down the application criteria, if that works for everybody. But maybe I'll make a motion that G and H under subsection 8 do not apply, as there are no proposed structures and there's no proposed filling beyond the harbor line. And subsection F will be addressed in responses to Article 6, Section 6A and 8B below. That's a
Second.
lengthy motion. Yep. We have a motion and a second. Mark?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's discuss that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with grouping this stuff together and not really making a statement as to the reasoning behind it and the finding of fact. And I think a lot of this, I mean, if you look at what's been going on in Rockport, it's fairly important to make a statement as to why it doesn't apply.
Okay, and that's fine. Basically, this is the section F is the reason why we're carrying it forward is because it all it's saying is does not conflict with the section of the harbor rules, and so we're going to be going through the harbor rules. So we kind of have to go through the harbor rules before we can say that they don't conflict. So that's the reason why I'm carrying that one.
I understand that, but when we go to H, no filling is permitted. Well, I think it would be appropriate just to say the applicant is not proposing any filling.
Yeah, I actually did put that. I'm sorry, but I think maybe you didn't hear it, but I actually said, I read the 2 lines that there are no proposed structures and that there is no proposed filling in my motion. Is that correct, Jeannie?
It is. It is.
But we can do these individually, Mark. I'm happy to go through them one by one. Would you like to make a motion?
Well, we've still got your motion on the table.
I will happily withdraw it and entertain new motion.
Okay. I make a motion that under G, there are no proposed structures.
We have a second?
Proposed with this application.
Second.
It's a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Chriso?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And it's an aye from me. So moved. Do we want to do H now?
I'd like to make a motion that the applicant is proposing no filling. Um, let's see. The applicant proposes no filling on this project based on the plans
Second,
Beyond the harbor line, right?
beyond the harbor line.
Yep. Okay, motion and a second. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and that's an aye from me, so moved. And, okay,
We still need a motion on F though, because we didn't actually.
Hmm. So could I say that because we're going to be going over the harbor rules and regulation on a separate document, we won't cover those now?
I think that generally works. I think that what I would say, the criteria in subsection F, this is my motion, I'm sorry, Pat, the criteria in subsection F will be discussed and addressed when we review Article 6, Section 6A and 8B below.
Yeah, that sounds better. Okay. I second that.
Okay,
Isn't that our next discussion?
it
Yeah.
is. That's where we're moving to next, but
So if we go through that and
Come back to this.
Come back.
Sure.
discuss that, then we can move back to F and approve that. Isn't that
okay.
appropriate?
I mean, it's going to be pretty clear when we get to the harbor ordinance, whether or not it's going to pass there. And that
Right.
would be fatal
But-
regardless, but, okay.
That's the
I'm
way
happy.
that's the way it's been done in the past, exactly how
Come-
it was described. Come back and.
Come
approve.
back to it, okay.
Confirm.
Sounds good. Okay, so that means then we're going on to the harbor, the coastal harbor part, Article 6. Is that right? Article 6, Sections 3, 6A, 6F2, and 8B of the Harbor and Waterways Ordinance of the Town of Camden.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, you could go over to probably either, I think Will's included it, but you could go down through the Harbor Committee's review, I mean, and talk about them. They provided, and they also included what the criteria are.
Right.
You see
See if
that?
I can-
And that was all attached to your agenda.
Right.
The process agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says Harbor
Yeah.
Committee at the top of the page, of the first page, and it's 2 pages.
Okay, I gotta find that again. I had it open.
Yeah. And now Zoom's gone.
Okay.
You want me to read that through, Ethan?
Yeah, if you'd like, that'd be great. I think I just found it, but go right ahead.
First is Camden Harbor Committee finds that the proposed project will not interfere with or pose a hazard to the navigational channels between the inner harbor and the bay from the public vessel ramp to the main channel. Vote was 5-0.
Discussion?
Do we need a motion to agree with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think this is a little clunky going through. I mean, it's good to have as a reference here, but I actually personally kind of prefer to read from the ordinance itself. But the thing that I think that we found on our site visit was that the pier is going out in some pretty ledgy shoreline, and I don't think there's going to be any navigating happening in that area. And certainly not between the Inner Harbor and the
And the Bay or public.
yeah.
So I'll make a motion that per the applicant's plan, the proposed pier does not interfere with or pose a hazard to navigational channels.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
Chriso.
Aye.
All right. And that's an aye from me. So moved.
So these motions we have from the Harbor Committee, these are worded basically exactly the way they are in the Harbor Ordinance.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yep.
Okay, so
They don't refer to the actual section. Well, they do actually. I'm not sure. They have renumbered.
it's
so
up top. It's Article 6,
Sixth section.
Section 6,
F2,
um,
F2.
F2, yeah.
Yep. So that's fine. We can work right from that.
Okay, you want me to continue on?
Please.
So B, substantially eliminate or interfere with the existing and designated mooring and anchorage areas and access thereto.
Any discussion on that?
Aren't any,
There are no moorings in that area.
and no one would anchor there.
No.
Not with that ledge out there.
I'll make a motion based on the plan and site visit that the proposed dock does not substantially eliminate or interfere with moorings or anchorage.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved.
Keep rolling, Mark.
Substantially reduce or interfere with existing shellfishing and clamming areas and access thereto.
I mean, it's all pretty ledgy. There's not a lot of clamming going on there.
No.
I will make a motion that based on the plan of the applicant, the project will not reduce or interfere with shellfishing, clamming areas or access.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Pat,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved.
Not interfere with public vessel launching and pier facilities.
Discussion.
No,
I will make a motion that based on the application and the plan and the location of the proposed project, it will not interfere with public vessel launching and pier facilities.
second,
We have a motion and a second. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. Next.
Substantially block or interfere with public rights of passage and uses of the shores and flats.
Any
Under
discussion
this-
not related to the use of the word rights?
Yeah, under this, the Harbor Committee had comments. Said the ordinance rules for the coastal harbor allow for piers to be built 2 feet higher than in the outer harbor. This extra height allows for small craft and pedestrians in the intertidal zone to pass under the piers at all tides.
Mhm.
I make a motion based on the applicant's plans that there will be no substantially blockage or interference for public rights of passage. And
Thank you, Pat. How are you spelling rights? Kidding.
as it says,
R-I-G-H-T-S. There is
Thank
no
you, Jeannie.
rights. There is no rights referred to in the common law language.
RITES,
Nope.
no rights? I didn't
But we
think
have to
so. I
match the
thought,
ordinance.
yeah,
Right.
it's all the way back to pagan times for us.
Don't you just put sick, SIC or
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that throughout. That's great. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, and Anita is vindicated. So moved.
F, adversely affects small recreational boating activities to a substantial degree.
There are some comments here. Any discussion? Wanna read the comments?
Although recreational boating activities are minimal in the area of the proposed project, the ordinance rules for the coastal harbor that allow for piers to be built 2 feet higher than in the outer harbor, also permitting small recreational boats to pass under the proposed pier.
And I would also just suggest, based on the ledge in that area, that I don't think many people are going to be kayaking or running a craft underneath that pier. I would be surprised, but I believe that criteria is met. Anyone want to make a motion on that?
I will make that motion that based on the applicant's plan, the proposed project will not adversely affect small recreational boating activities.
We have a second.
A
Second.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved.
Now, the
Um,
next one is G, H, and I. And the comments that the Harbor Committee have are as follows. Review criteria G, H, and I are not considered appropriate for Harbor Committee reviews as they are simply deadlines and procedures. This includes construction of approval projects shall commence within 1 year from the date of approval by the select board and shall be completed within 2 years from the date of issuance of the building permit. H, the discussion of the select board concerning issuance or denial of the permit may be appealed to the Superior Court by the aggrieved party within 30 days of the date of decision and in accordance with Rule 80B of the main rules of civil procedures. I, notwithstanding the above provisions of Article 6, Section 6, regular maintenance and emergency repair of piers, wharfs, mobile vessel hoists, breakwaters, or bulkheads as defined below shall not require a permit under the Harbor and Waterways Ordinance, except as stated expressly in the following paragraphs of this provision.
Any discussion?
You want a motion that items G, H, and I are not applicable for a vote
As they are,
as they are deadlines and procedures.
That's a good motion.
second,
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. Anybody want to wrap on the final recommendation under the waterways, harbor and waterways ordinance?
So under the make a motion under the Harbor and Waterway Ordinance, the Harbor Committee recommends approval of the pier project at 260 Bayview Street based on the review criteria of the Harbor and Waterway Ordinance.
I think we need to approve it under the harbor and waterways ordinance.
Yeah, I was just doing an overall motion based on the Harbor Committee and then another motion, I guess, under,
I guess maybe Mark, you, based on the information that the Harbor Committee, their review is in addition to the evidence and the application materials that have been submitted on the site walk, you determine that these standards are met.
yes. Yeah, I'm good with that one.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. All right. We gotta do one final one then, right? Or
Yeah, you're on to review of site plan approval criteria, Article 12, Section 6.
yeah,
that is-
we've been down. We
Do we need to go back though to
Oh, yeah.
do
Jay?
want to go back. Yep. Thank you, Chriso, for process on that. So we're under 8, Article 10, Section 8, Part 1, Section 1, Number 8, Subsection F.
Okay, so based on the
Based on-
applicant's plans and as well as the planning board's review and the harbor committee's review, section F is met.
There you go.
Okay.
That's great. And we have a motion and a second. Chriso,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
it's an aye from me, so moved. All right, we do now, as Jeremy indicated, get to move on to the site plan review criteria. At this time, we do have an option to eliminate by mass vote to determine which sections do not apply, or we can just go through one by one. Is there a preference from the board? Mark, do you prefer to go one by one?
This
Like,
is
for
a-
instance, number 3 is relationship of the proposed building to the environment and neighboring buildings. I guess, does this count as a
That one may
structure?
apply.
Yeah, that would
I think we'll
apply,
just go-
okay.
We should just go
Yeah,
through
let's-
them.
We'll
We
go through
can-
them and we maybe eliminate them before I read through the whole thing.
Right.
So feel free to interrupt the chair anytime you think I'm going down the wrong path. Well, I'll read over the approval criteria from Article 12. The following criteria to be used by the planning board in judging applications for site plan reviews and shall serve as minimum requirements for approval of this site plan. The site plan shall be approved unless in the judgment of the planning board, the applicant is not able to reasonably meet one or more of these standards. In all instances, the burden of proof shall be on the applicant, and such burden of proof shall include the production of evidence necessary to complete the application. So, number 1, preserve and enhance the landscape. The landscape shall be preserved in its natural state insofar as practical by minimizing tree removal, disturbance of soil, and by retaining existing vegetation during construction. After construction is completed, landscaping shall be designed and planted to define, soften, or screen the appearance of off-street parking areas from the public right-of-way and abutting properties and/or structures to minimize the encroachment of the proposed use on neighboring land uses. Any discussion?
I will make a motion that based on the applicant's plan, the standard has been met for preserving and enhancing the landscape.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Mark, your dog?
Yep. That was
Yep,
an
aye. Okay. And Chriso? All right, and it's an aye for me, so moved. Next is erosion control, and we did discuss this earlier, so I'll actually just summarize that. Number 2, erosion control, filling, excavation, and earth moving activities shall be carried out in a way that keeps erosion and sedimentation to a minimum. And then it lists some criteria there. I think we've already had a discussion on this, that any disturbed soil will be done under the
Mark's got a
ordinance requirements. Yep, Mark, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'd make a motion that Plan C2 meets this criteria.
Second,
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Pat,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. Number 3, relationship of the proposed building.
Okay.
And I'll add,
I'll interrupt you and make a motion that it's not applicable as there are no buildings in the
well,
project.
the thing is, I think Jeremy was going to say is that the second in this paragraph, it actually says or structures.
Structures, all right.
I believe that this may qualify as a structure.
It does.
So I will keep going on this one. I was with you on at first, Chris. Right? The physical placement of proposed buildings or structures on the site shall fit harmoniously with the terrain of the site and with neighboring buildings or structures, taking into account the bulk, location, and height of the building and structures, and such natural features as slope, soil type, and drainage ways. The proposed buildings or structures shall not interfere unreasonably with the solar access of existing buildings or adjacent parcels. Any
Based
discussion?
upon, I was going to say, based on the applicant's plans, I'd like to propose that the relationship of the proposed building or structure to environment and neighboring buildings requirement has been met.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. 4, vehicular access, parking, and circulation, I would suggest
I
does
will make
not
a motion.
apply.
This is not applicable.
Very good. Thank you, Chriso. Do we have a second?
Second,
We have a motion and a second that vehicular number 4 does not apply. Roll call vote. Chriso,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. Surface water drainage, number 5.
Applicable?
I think not.
I would make a motion that surface water drainage is not applicable. to this
Second,
Project.
We have a motion and a second that surface water drainage, number 5, does not apply. Chriso,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
and that's an aye from me. Number 6 is public utilities.
I would make a motion that this does not apply.
The second,
Right, no public utilities affected, okay? Motion and a second, Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. Number 7 is special features of development, exposed storage areas, exposed machinery installation,
I would make a
yada,
motion
yada.
not applicable as there are no special features.
I'll
No,
second,
no special features, motion and a second, roll call vote, Chriso,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved. Number 8 is exterior lighting. All exterior lighting shall be designed and shielded to avoid undue adverse impact on neighboring properties and rights of way.
Based on applicant's plans, I'd like to make a motion that the exterior lighting requirement has been met.
We
Second.
have a motion and a second.
Can I
There you
say that it might be important to add that Will's comments that the lights will only be on when the pier is in use? That's really important, I think.
Oh, that's a good point. So should I redo that motion?
Just add it. I think.
You can just
Okay.
say, add that part.
Okay, so on the exterior lighting, we're noting that the lights will only be on when the pier is in use by the owner.
Thank you. You want to renew the second?
Yeah, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved.
Hmm.
Number 9, emergency vehicle access, I think does not apply.
Yeah, make a motion that's not applicable.
Second,
Motion and a second that number 9, emergency vehicle access does not apply to this application. Roll call vote. Chriso,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
it's an aye from me, so moved. Number 10, special criteria for piers, wharves, breakwaters, municipal boat ramps, municipal piers, consolidated piers, causeways, marinas, bridges over 20 feet in length, or other projects projecting into water bodies requiring site plan approval under the terms of this ordinance. In addition to the above approval criteria, the site must be demonstrated to be suitable for the proposed use according to the following special criteria. A, the project must not cause undue erosion on or near the site. And B, the proposed use must not cause degradation of marine life in or near the area.
I would
Any
make a
discussion?
motion. I would make a motion that based on the applicant's plan, including letters from the Department of Environmental Protection, this criteria has been met.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on 10 special criteria for piers. Roll call vote. Mark,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and that's an aye from me. So moved. And that, I think, I
Why don't
think
you
that's
do
all
one-
we're,
One final motion that based on all of
Right.
this, relying on the
Right.
testimony, the applicant,
Right, we have our final, but have we crossed all our Ts and
you have. Yep,
Should we just state that 11 and 12 do not apply?
oh, did I even skip those?
I skipped.
yeah,
them.
because they're not.
Yeah, it
on
wasn't
our
even, yep.
process.
It was cut off on my page.
Yeah, there's. a
Yeah, that's
mo-
great, Mark. Do you want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that 11, design standards for new construction in the B1 or BTH zones do not apply. And under 12, the overlay design standards for business opportunity zone do not apply.
Second,
We have a motion in 2 seconds. Take a roll call vote. Pat,
Aye.
Chriso,
aye.
Mark,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me, so moved.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. So we are ready for one final big home run swing of a motion. Mark, you want to do this?
I think on page 2 on the process agenda for the most part.
No, go ahead. Somebody else do it.
I'll make a motion relying on the testimony of the applicant, both written and oral, the testimony of planning and development, and the advisory comments of the Harbor Committee, that the board approves the site plan for Sally Sherman for property located at 260 Bayview Street for a pier as shown on C1 dated March 14th, 2022.
Isn't it Betsy Sherman?
Chris, so you
Is it
had that all
Betsy?
written out and you were
It
holding
is
out
Betsy
on?
Sherman, sorry.
No,
That's my fault.
Mark,
No,
it was
Jeannie-
provided by,
Jeannie
it
wrote
was
it out
provided
for
by
us, Mark.
Jeannie.
It's my
It's in
fault.
the
Provided by
process.
Jeannie in the process
I'm
agenda,
sorry, Betsy.
but
All
it is
right.
Betsy.
I didn't write that out, Mark. Come on, Jeannie did it for us.
Hey.
I'll amend
We
that.
tried to guide you right to it, Mark, but
Yeah.
you rejected us.
I can't.
Amend that to Betsy Sherman.
Yeah. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
All right, we'll give Mark the second. Motion in a second. Roll call vote. Pat,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Chriso,
Aye.
and it's an aye from me. So moved. The project at 260 Bayview is approved based on the application and the applicant's testimony. Thank you, Will, for your time.
Yes.
And thank you, Jeannie, for everything you do to help make this run smoothly. And thank you, Jeremy, for walking us through it as well.
And writing our motions.
It's
That's
a
Jeannie.
big, it's a lot of review, items, and there's a number of them are overlap and
There's a lot of
Yeah.
redundancies.
It's not especially streamlined, I'll agree.
Erosion control is not is definitely highlighted in that process.
All right, good. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Will.
thank you, everyone. I appreciate the effort.
All right, thanks, Will. Take care.
Time. Thank you. Good night.
I'll put two plans in the
Conference room.
French room again, and you can come sign when you can.
I think Chriso and Pat need to sign the one for Hannaford still.
Yeah.
Right.
I do. I'll be in there tomorrow, so I could sign these plans then too.
Yep.
Hopefully.
After 9:30, they'll
Yeah.
be there.
I'm gonna try and get in by the end of tomorrow.
Okay.
Jeannie, I'm gonna try to get you an agenda to get out tomorrow on, for meeting next week on Zoom. I'll do my best, okay?
Oh, well, just give me the guy's name and I'll wing it. We can always amend it.
Yeah, I gotta find him first. I mean, I
Okay.
know who he is. I gotta,
The guy Jeremy knows. We'll be speaking.
An expert,
Maybe,
an expert.
maybe.
An expert.
And if not, then Jeremy will be forced to speak.
sure. Okay,
He's an expert too.
all right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Motion
All right,
carried.
thanks, everybody.